So today we're going to talk about the biscuit mixing method, and then I'm going to be making cheddar cheese biscuits as a demonstration. So the biscuit method, the key is that we cut the fat into the dry ingredients. So what that means is you have your fat source, you'll see me demonstrate with butter, and then you cut the fat using the pastry cutter. And the whole point of that is this causes the fat pieces to be coated with flour, and it creates a very flaky texture. So let's learn how to make some cheddar cheese biscuits.
Everyone, so today I'm going to demonstrate the biscuit mixing method for quick breads. The biscuit mixing method uses flour and dry ingredients and your fat source, and it uses this guy. This is a pastry cutter or a pastry blender, either terminology is correct, to cut in the fat into the dry ingredients. What that causes is little chunks of your fat source to be coated with the dry ingredients, and when you incorporate that into a dough then and bake it, it leaves little pockets of fat that have now melted, turned to steam, and cause flaky layers to happen. So how you do this is you have your fat source, and it should be cold, so that way it doesn't melt as you're incorporating it in, cut into chunks. Then you use your pastry cutter, and you just cut the butter into the dry ingredients. You know you are done when your butter or fat source is about the size of small peas. This tends to happen a lot, so then just go ahead and take a knife and just get the excess butter that is stuck on there off. Now, if you don't have a pastry cutter at home, you can use two knives actually and just do like cutting motions, and it will have the same effect.
All right, so now your butter and dry ingredient mixture is good to go. Okay, so you can see my little butter chunks in there, but you know you've done this right when you don't see huge chunks of butter, and honestly, it almost just looks like your flour is a little clumpy. So that is what it's going to look like when you have successfully cut in your butter. And again, that's the term when you use the pastry cutter to cut in butter with your dry ingredients. Now, if you don't have a pastry cutter at home, you can use two knives and just kind of cut the butter until it's smaller.
So now that we've cut in our fat source with our flour, then really whatever recipe you're making that uses this obviously differs from here. For the cheddar cheese biscuits that we're making, it instructs me to put my liquid ingredients, so just my milk, into a well in my dry ingredients. And again, a well is just a hole that I've created in the middle, and I'm just going to mix this until the milk is combined. Once I do that, then I'm gonna go ahead and add in my mix-ins, which is some cheddar cheese, some basil, and some garlic powder. All right, so that's pretty much combined. I'm gonna go ahead and just throw these in and mix just to get that combined in. Last week with homemade pasta, you guys saw me knead, and I'll do that a little bit here just to bring everything together. So I'm gonna go ahead and dust my surface with flour. This is a stickier dough, so I wanna be kind of generous. And I'm gonna go ahead and plop that out on here. I'm not kneading a lot. You've heard about gluten and that it gives texture and shape to wheat-based products, and so quick breads actually don't want gluten to develop a lot, otherwise your biscuits will get really tough. So really I'm just doing this to get it a little less sticky, and then I will cut them. So I'm just gonna knead, honestly not very long at all, because this dough came together really nicely. So I'm happy with that. It's all one cohesive dough. So I'm gonna go ahead. My instructions tell me to roll it out, but I'm just gonna pat it out because it's a little bit more fun, and also I forgot to grab my rolling pin. So I'm just gonna pat this out into about a 1/2 inch thickness. And then I'm going to use my biscuit cutter to cut it out and put it on my baking sheet. Now this is not garbage. I can just quickly knead it back together, pat it out, and then continue to cut biscuits from it. So I will bring these back out once they are finished baking.
All right, so our cheesy cheddar biscuits have come out of the oven, and you can see that they have just risen straight up. This is a great example of that. And that's really a good characteristic of a biscuit when you use the biscuit mixing method. So we split this one open and you can see, you know, these little flaky pockets right here. All right. All right, so I have the recipe for you guys in Google Classroom if you want to try tackling these for your home cooking assignment this week.